It was snowing fire. The fire was like snow. I shook my hair. There was fire on my hair. It was horrible.
It's been 1 year since a wall of flames destroyed Alzira's home. Scorched earth still surrounds this wooded area in central Portugal. 14 people died in this small community. Even those who did not lose their homes were traumatized.
Last year, this entire region, known as the Inner Pine Forest, went up in flames. Now, entire homes like this one were destroyed. Rebuilding is underway, but the destruction is clear to see. They were unrelenting fires the locals still call the Inferno.
Last year, over 500,000 hectares burned. In June and October, 2 massive fires killed 120 people. The deadliest fires in Portugal's history. Under public pressure for answers, the government commissioned an independent report from specialist Xavier Viegas. He found that extreme temperatures, emergency mismanagement, and isolated villages were to blame. So too were eucalyptus trees.
The problem was composed by the vegetation that we have around here. And this vegetation is mainly pine and eucalyptus. The eucalyptus because it is not, let's say, well managed, because it's all over the place.
Portugal is the paradise of eucalyptus. It was imported in the 18th century from Australia and now covers 1/4 of the country's forests. It's replaced oak, laurel, and chestnut trees, and that's the problem.
Tell us a bit more then about these eucalyptus trees that we're seeing here. What is it about these plants that make them one of the main factors of the fire?
Yes, it's one of the causes of the fire because eucalyptus is very flammable and very combustible because of the essential oils in the leaves. Also because of the bark when it burns with the fire's intensity. It sparks and projects pieces hundreds of meters away that starts new fires that make the situation increasingly uncontrollable and the fires very quick.
You know, we see clearly burnt areas, but then there's all this green around it. What is this?
This tree burned down exactly 1 year ago. The tree looks dead, but it's trying to survive through its new growth. It should have been cut down, but since it wasn't, the survival strategy of this species is to spread the seeds and create new plants. What's sure is that this area isn't controlled and managed, which will make it even more dangerous in a few years' time.
In the last 20 years, Portugal has suffered more forest fires than any other European territory. The eucalyptus monoculture is a big factor, but the local rural economy depends on the plant.
Trees provide the raw material that's used to create these giant rolls of paper. Now we're here in the heart of the paper industry, and it's a flourishing one. It provides 1% of Portugal's GDP, 5% of exports, and 3,000 jobs, mostly in rural areas. Eucalyptus is a key resource, but the paper industry says it's not responsible for the forest fires.
Representatives from the main paper union would only respond to our interview request through email. Here's what they said.
The paper industry is not pushing any illegal practices or poor forestry management. Regulating is central government's responsibility. In pulp and paper's forest areas, fires are a lot less frequent.
The pulp and paper industry owns 20% of Portugal's forests. The government, only 2%. The rest belongs to a mosaic of over 400,000 small landowners. There's no official land registry, making effective forest management nearly impossible.
The successive governments have allowed, by inaction, to have most of the forest areas of this country put in service of one industry. Like to have 10% of the area of the country delivered to providing raw materials for one single industry. This is an important industry in terms of political leverage.
Creating leverage of their own, some residents are taking matters into their own hands.
We decided to do something by ourselves without expecting anyone. We took out 9 hectares of eucalyptus, more than 50,000. We was very spontaneous. We were driven by emotion.
Oak, cork, and fruit trees now replace eucalyptus and pine, a buffer zone against the fire. Required by law since 2006, the government is only now starting to seriously enforce it. Landowners must clear a 50-meter radius around homes, 100 meters around villages. Those who don't face a fine.
As you can see, we have the village protected with cork trees and with no eucalyptus. But we are concerned about other villages 3 kilometers away or 4 kilometers away that didn't burn last year, and they are exactly like we were last year. So it can happen. We hope not, but it can happen.
Protection from future fires. There's hope more buffer zones could allow eucalyptus to provide its much-needed livelihood without taking lives.